Hi, my name is Rachelle Smith, certified master fitness trainer, professional speaker, and author. Happy Fitness Friday. Last time I shared some tips on the fine art of approaching people in the gym because, folks, approaching people is important, and knowing how to do it skillfully and effectively is important, of course, not only in the gym but outside of fitness facilities. And I've spent a couple of episodes last year highlighting the importance of approaching people because I think that's something. I think the fear of rejection holds a lot of people back, and so those fears can cause people to kind of come off and come across in the wrong way when approaching people. And I never want that to be you. I always want you to be successful in everything that you do. And so I want to continue this conversation on approaching people in the gym and just share a few quick thoughts here, and then I'm ultimately going to shift on to another topic next week, and that is disruption. The disruption, of course, positive disruption that has occurred in the fitness industry. And so I want to continue this conversation and just highlight, because last time I highlighted again 3 points. Okay, consider the timing of your approach, consider your ask, and consider the content. So you really have to think about the timing of when you're approaching people. Is it a good time? Is it not a bad time? But in order to really gauge that timing aspect, you've got to learn the importance of body language. And I've spent some time last year focusing on body language and other non-Fitness Friday episodes, but body language will tell you everything you need to know about a person inside a fitness facility and definitely outside a fitness facility. But consider the content. Okay, what are you? How are you saying? How are you communicating? What exactly are you saying? Okay, are you articulate? I mean, are you able to communicate effectively? What exactly are you saying, and is it worth that person's time? And lastly, consider your ask. Consider what you're asking for. Okay, is this somebody you know already? Is this a complete stranger? Is this somebody that you see on a regular basis in the gym? You have to consider what you're asking for, because particularly if you're dealing with a stranger, someone you've never met, someone you don't know, and you're asking for something, you have to think about that. I mean, we can use the same analogy on the outside. In the outside of a fitness facility, just going up to a stranger asking, can I borrow $20? Okay. You know what I mean? That's asking for a lot, particularly for someone, from someone that you don't know or you don't know well. I had a couple of instances in my own gym where people will come up to me, just complete strangers, and ask me for fitness tips. And now if I know you, and of course that's a very small number of people in the gym, if I absolutely know you, then yes, I will talk to you, I will share my thoughts and whatever this and that. But if I don't know you, it's not going to happen. And what I will do is direct people to the training station because, hey, I respect the training staff, I respect their position in that facility, and I'm definitely going to send people their way. But again, think about that from an approach perspective. Coming up to a complete stranger, asking for something like that when there's a training station right there. But of course, I think I'm a little bit different in my position and what I do and things like that. So I'm always, going to respect the position that the folks have in a fitness facility. And so consider your ask, folks, and that's just so important. Think about what you're asking for. But just in a nutshell, folks, and I said last time, just common sense is so important. And it's just, you really got to think things through when you're approaching people, because there's, like I said last time, there's a number of funny YouTube videos, and there's advice, and there's tips on things, and then various aspects of that. And so you just act like you have some sense. I mean, just in its basic form, when you're approaching people, when you're talking to people in the gym, just act like you have some sense. I mean, that's truly it in a nutshell. I could dress it up, I could make it sound fancy, but truly, it's all about acting like you have some sense. Okay, and that golden rule, if you were similarly situated, would you want someone doing that to you? Okay, and that's just, again, it just goes back to respect. It just goes back to, again, respecting other people, but also respecting yourself. You really got to have a good head on your shoulders and know how to socialize and interact with people in a healthy way, in a considerate and thoughtful way, and you won't have any problems. Because like I said, approaching people is an issue for a lot of people, particularly approaching strangers. And how do you get to know people if you can never approach them initially? And of course, I say this, as a veteran, because not military veteran, but as a veteran approaching people for a number of years, because I've worked in sales for a number of years. But it's just my personality type. I tend to take a lot of risks, and I just the military environment, growing up around that, where you're constantly moving in and out and meeting people and just having to put yourself out there. It's just something that fortunately I was kind of wired growing up to be able to do that. But I also respect the fact that it's an issue for a lot of people. So that's why I do episodes, and that's why I do certain things, to be able to highlight important points, because I want you to be successful in approaching people. And so, like I said, act like you have some sense. You know, would you want somebody stalking you in a gym? You know, if the situation were reversed, and I tell people, and people find it funny, and I said, you know, if Grandpa Psycho Stalker at my gym, if he would have been married, his husband would have had a big problem. His husband would have shut that down real quick. Like, what is it that you have with this young black woman? We got to stop this obsession that you have with her right now. It's over. And so, you know, that just, again, just think about putting yourself, empathizing, putting yourself in someone else's shoes. How would you feel? And when you approach people, when you approach situations like that, and some people, and as I stated, I spend a lot of time in the gym. And so I am always going to experience, again, just the law of averages. When you think about statistics, again, the bell curve. Most people are under the bell. Most people are average, going in, working out 45 minutes, an hour a day. I'm spending lots of hours in the gym on a weekly basis. So I'm going to be one of these outliers. And because I'm there so much, I'm going to see much more. I'm going to experience much more. Again, that's just statistics at work there. And so I observe a lot. And I observe, you know, people that just have very graceful social skills, and I observe people that just, you know, don't have a clue. And so that's why I always like to inform and educate and inspire and motivate people to be their best in any situation. Not to be perfect, because none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. But it's just the importance of recognizing our mistakes and just, you know, saying, hey, you know, this was a bad move, this wasn't a smart decision or move, whatever, and just moving forward. Perfect example. Now, you know, I'm always going to have plenty of examples in the gym. Perfect examples of this point. So Wednesday, April, I think it was April 19th. Yeah, Wednesday, April 19th, 10 minutes to 9. So I'm actually in the weight machine area, and I'm taking a rest in between sets on the assisted dip chin machine. And so I've written about this machine in one of my books. And so I won't go into all the details because that's going to take up too much time in terms of how it's used and whatever. But essentially, you're holding on. You know, there's 2 bars on the side, and of course, there's bars up top. And so when I use the machine, I use the bars on the side, and there's the assisted part where there's actually, you know, the motion movement where you, in my case, you know, I would put my knees, you know, hold onto the rails, put my knees on the padded, and it moves. And so it moves down and it moves up, and you set the weight. And so it's just awesome, wonderful exercises for your arms. And so I'm on this machine. And so, folks, I'm taking a rest in between sets, and I'm just kind of, you know, looking off in the gaze. And there's a guy that comes, he had to be late 40s. It's a guy who comes up, and he sets his stuff down next to the machine. Now, next to the assisted dip chin machine, there's actually a seated cable row machine. And so I'm thinking he sets his stuff down, and I hadn't seen him before. I hadn't seen him that morning in there, so he just kind of sets his stuff down. And I'm thinking, okay, he's getting ready to get on the seated cable row machine. And no, folks, and the first time, it'll be 23 years in May, my fitness journey, I have never seen something like this. Has never happened to me. And so I'm thinking, okay, he's going to get on the machine, oh good. And so my mind is moving in slow motion, because when you're not expecting something, your mind, I think sometimes it tends to react a little bit slowly, you know, and then the same thing with Grandpa Psycho Stalker in my gym. It's just when you're not expecting something, I think it takes you a while to piece things together. So this guy sets his stuff down, and I'm standing there, again, holding onto the bar on the left, my foot, both of my feet are on one of the left, on the left side, where where you place your feet as you're getting on the machine. So I'm clearly on the machine still. So he comes and he takes the weight, the weight pen where you change the weights, and he moves it. He changes and puts on a different weight. And again, I'm sitting here and my mind is moving, just taking me a while to process what's going on and whatever. And then it finally dawned on me, what is this guy doing? You know, I'm clearly still on this machine. I'm right here. My water bottle, towel are sitting right here. And this guy, and it finally dawns on me, this guy is just moved, just changed the weight setting, I had it on 25 and he put it on 70, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, like, who is this guy? And why did he just change the weight setting on this assisted dip chin machine? I don't have a clue who he is or why he's doing this. And then it finally clicks, okay? And then if you watched any episodes, you know how I react. When something crazy or bizarre happens, what do? My gaze always goes to the front aisle and the front door, okay? is John Quinones. This is it right here, folks. John Quinones and his crew are about to roll in here and say, you're about to be on an episode, the fitness edition of What Would You Do? And so there's no John as I sit here, probably 3 or 5 seconds as I glance. And then I look down and then I react. And folks, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to make me mad in general, but in a fitness facility, because it's been so long and I've seen so much, it takes a lot to make me mad. And this was the second time that I got upset in a fitness facility. And of course, number one was Grandpa Stalker, as you may have imagined. And so it dawned on me, it clicked, no John Quinones, and then I jumped off. Again, I let go of the rail and I jump off, and I say, what's wrong with you? What are you doing? And then I, of course, changed the setting back. I put it back on 25, like, dude, I've been doing this for a while. I can use 25 setting. You need 70. You need 70 because you're about to, clearly haven't been using this machine long. And so he doesn't say anything. And then I get back on the machine and just start using it, whatever, this and that, as usual. And I said, you know what? And I forgot to say this. When I said, what's wrong with you? What are you doing? There's a machine just like this right here. And so fortunately, I think it happened when I was gone for Christmas, but they bought another assisted dip chin machine. So there's 2 of them, and no one was on that other machine. And so I told him, there's one right there. So he picked up his stuff, and then he walked around and he got on that machine. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, this is just bizarre. Like, what is this? Like, who does this? And so whatever, I'm just going on, whatever, leave, whatever, go to other weight machines. So yes, about 30 minutes later, you guessed it, I'm on the adjustable pulley machine, where I told you I'm often interrupted on that particular machine towards the back on the main aisle. And so I see him coming. And, typically if there's somebody I don't want to talk to, whatever, I will turn my back and kind of send a message, an indirect message, like, I don't want to talk to you. And so, but I saw him coming, and he had this dejected look on his face. And so I said, you know what? And he's walking towards me, and I said, you know what? He's coming to say something to me about what happened. And so, folks, he comes up to me, and of course, when he stops, I take my earbud, and that never happens. I just, for some stranger, whatever, particularly one who makes me mad, I pulled out my earbud, and he apologized. And folks, this wasn't like, sorry about earlier, and walk off. This man gave me a sincere, full-fledged out apology. Why he did it, and why it was wrong. And I'm sitting here thinking, because when I interacted with him earlier, I said, you know what? And this is how I responded to him. I said, you know what? No problem. And I realized then that you were new and you don't have a clue what you were doing in the gym. And he's walking around with his notebook. So clearly someone has designed a program for him, and he's just trying to follow, because in between reps, he's opening it up and saying what he's supposed to be doing. And he's walking around the gym lost. And so watching his body language after that happened, I said, you know what, this guy's new. He doesn't know what he's doing. And that's what I told him. It's clearly you were new and didn't have a clue what you were doing. And he said, you know what, but that's no excuse. I just want to let you. And I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, wow. So see, it went from frustration to respect. I respect a man that can apologize, and especially give you a full-fledged apology to a complete stranger in the gym. And so, yes, that's an example. When we all in life, we all mess up. We all have issues like that. But, can we say we're sorry? Can we say we're wrong? And one thing my brother called me last year and told me, he said, Rachelle, no mentally and emotionally healthy man wants to be thought of as creepy, as a stalker, as a psycho. We all want to be well thought of, particularly by a female, in any situation. So just recognize when something's going berserk and whatever, and you tell somebody to stop doing something and they continue doing it, that's an issue. That's something mentally and emotionally wrong with that person. So I just wanted to share these thoughts, folks. And so just approaching people is so important. Approaching people, again, regardless of what your motive is, or if you kind of have a situation where it's a bad approach or something kind of happens, and you can just, hey, rectify it or whatever, because I will forever, respect. I'm sure I'll never see him again or whatever. I don't know. But hey, I do respect him, and I do respect his ability to apologize. And so, folks, approaching people is so important. And I just want you to be successful inside the gym and outside of the gym. And one thing a friend of mine that I greatly respect said to me last year, she said, Rachelle, I know you got your gym stalker, but at least you don't get stalked by trainers. And I was intrigued by that statement that she made. And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, well, at least you don't have trainers coming up to you unsolicited saying, need some help with your workouts? Or are you satisfied with the results you're achieving? And that really and I was thinking to myself, again, having a sales background, I'm like, I know why they would do that. because again, you've got people already in the gym. It's going to be easier for you to convert them into clients because they're already there. But as a trainer, and I say this respectfully to the trainers, you have to be respectful of people, because there's certain people. She took it well, she kind of laughed and blew it off. But there's a lot of people that would hurt their feelings, that would, you'll forever, that wrong approach like that will forever, they may consider you as a trainer, but then you come up to them and that makes, can stir up insecurities and inadequacies and, what are you saying to me, even though they already know what you're trying to say. And so I just say that respectfully, to really think about how you're approaching people. And like I said, with a sales background, I know why trainers would do that. It makes perfect sense, but you just have to watch your approach. And one thing that's certainly true in the sales arena is, build rapport. Work on building relationship first, before you just bam, I don't want to talk to you about my training services, or are you happy with your training? Speak to that person, get to know that person, and then naturally it'll hopefully evolve into that direction. But people can feel targeted and singled out. I could definitely see how that would happen. And so in any situation, regardless of what your motive is in the gym and approaching people, I want you to be successful. And I want you to have a wonderful workout experience when you're in any type of fitness facility. But approaching people and doing it the right way will certainly make your workouts and your workout journeys much more fun in the long run. So thank you so much for your time. Make it a wonderfully fit day.